We breathe in life. And we breathe life into things with our breath. In this moment right now, we come together to breathe life into life. We come here to be beacons and harbingers of life. We come here to have life and to have more life abundantly. As Jesus spoke of the Zoe life. It's not about longevity, everlasting. It's regenerative, everlasting. Forever renewing and replenishing itself. An internal sustainability. So that no matter what it is that happens, we do not perish. We do not wither. But we keep tapping into that wellspring that enlivens us, regardless of what's happening in the bio world. We give thanks for this time together of oneness, of healing, of trust, of truth. Suddenly I'm hearing that old Methodist prayer in my head, that the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. That scriptural verse. We declare everything that happens here today to be good and very, very good. We get out of the way, we allow it to be, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is. You want to come closer?
Do you want me to?
No, not you, Russell.
Russell.
Okay.
I can't do things in my car anymore, so I want to be able
We do a quick check-in. Vision that's pulling.
I didn't hear you.
Vision.
What about it?
We need some. We need some. We're doing a check-in. Vision.
What your vision is, Kelly.
Vision. Do you have a vision? A vision that brings you here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I definitely have a vision that brings me here. My vision is still the same. Respect for each other. All inclusive. And I mean that. I mean that. Everyone, no matter what, no matter who, we're all a part of this.
Great.
And I want it to be for all of us.
Okay. Anybody else? Vision?
I envision a world where we take seriously that we judge each other based on the content of our character, that becomes the new norm. And gender and race and nationality and sexual preference all fades away. And we absolutely evaluate each other on the quality and the essence of our character.
Amen. I would say my vision is for divine right order in everything, in our relationships, in our financial dealings, in our families. Just divine right order. The energy is there. Just let it flow. Let it be.
Amen. All right.
There's Russell. He wants to share.
This one's really tight. It's not as tight as the other one. It's the loose one. Really? Is there any way to make this looser? Is this the screw that controls?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I can loosen that. All right.
Yes, when Brother Tete was visiting us, he was saying about his kids, or 5 or 6 year old kids that are in his compound. He walked up and says, "Oh, you're such stupid little kids," and all the kids would look at him and start singing, "There's nothing you can say to make us anything less powerful and magnificent and great." And then he'd say, "You're beautiful kids," and then they'd sing back, "Oh, you see us as we are," right? I mean, I think of the harm, the absolute harm to people's souls, including those that are perpetrators of greed beyond greed. It's not about money anymore. It's not about money. And they're not taught. If they knew about love instead of where they are, they would be acting the way they are. It's about consciousness. And so I envision a world of light where parents take charge and teach their children how to sing back when you said you're less than. Yeah.
All right.
I feel like I can talk to you on the screen, on the wall.
Okay. We've been talking about a narrative, because the narrative is the vision. The narrative is not so much our report about what has happened, as we think of sometimes that we have a story about something. Our narrative is very much alive. And the narrative goes before what happens. Listen to that. The narrative isn't just the description of what has happened. The narrative is the anticipation of what is going to happen. So the narrative is a mold, and we pour everything into that mold. And what is the purpose of a mold? What does a mold do? It gives a shape. Exactly. So whatever that mold that we have is, that is the shape of what we see. So everything fits into that mold. And if it doesn't fit into it, we're busy lopping off anything about it until it does fit into that mold. Because that's all we can see. So we're here to break the molds. We're here to change the narratives. We're here to see something else, to articulate something else so that we can have something else. Most of us are waiting for the something else. We think, well, when I get to something else, then I'll change my mind. Then I'll start having another vision because I'll see that it's possible. But it's the other way around. You have to dare to envision it in order for it to take place.
Right.
You can't wait for it to take place. It takes place because your vision of its possibility taking place. That's how we get there. But that takes a certain amount of daring. It takes a certain amount of willingness to step out into the unknown. It takes a certain amount of willingness to go up against the tide. It takes a willingness to think outside of the box, a willingness to imagine things. It's like the Kennedys saying, you know, some people see things for some men see things the way that they are and ask why. And other men see things that haven't been and ask, why not? Why not? I was looking recently, and I highly recommend that everybody do this. We're going to do it in my class tomorrow night. Look at Lynn Twist's Super Soul Sunday. on April 23rd of this year, of 2017. Her book, The Soul of Money, has been re-released again. I think it's Jack Canfield that's done like a new forward on it, and some other people, Brene Brown, have done they've added some things to it. It's really, really good. In the Pachamama Alliance, I'm on their board of directors, and Lynn Twist is one of the co-founders. We use this phrase of unexamined assumptions, And I don't remember hearing this before, and perhaps it's in her book. I want to make sure I've got it straight. She says, the problem is not the unanswered, oh shoot, maybe just because it's too brilliant. She didn't use the word, oh God. I want to give it exact. I can paraphrase it, but it was the exact phrasing that was so beautiful. What she was saying that the problem is not so much the lack of answers, like the non-answers that we have to our questions. The problem is the way that we have looked at, oh God, I'm messing this up. I got to come back to it because it's too perfect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to do that. Question we've had to our answers. Gosh, it's too beautiful. Anyway, bottom line is that we take things just as they are. We just say that they are. She talked about these 3 myths about money. That the myth of scarcity, she talked the myth about more, and she said the myth of that's just the way that it is. And it directly parallels what we talked about before of the 3 assumptions that are underlying capitalism. Resources are scarce, more is always better than less, and everybody always operates in their own self-interest. Those are the underlying assumptions of our capitalistic economy. Economics is a behavioral science. It's a social science. It's not a natural science. It's a social science. It is the science of people and what people do with their resources. But it has to start off with the view of people and who people are and how people operate, which is why you can always have economists disagreeing. If we put more money in the hands of the people, what are they going to do? Are they going to save it? Are they going to spend it? Are they going to invest it? Who knows? Because we're all taking bets on what people, quote unquote, are going to do. But we put it forth as though it is law. See, we put it forth in such an unexamined way as to say it's just the way that it is. And that idea that people always operate in their own self-interest is part of that, quote unquote, just the way that it is. It's this view that we have, this kind of Darwinian view that we have, but it's a misquote even of Darwin. Because survival of the fittest didn't mean like who could take over, but survival of the fittest was about adaptation. Things working in harmony, things working in nature, and which of the things could evolve, basically. Who in fact could do that. So we're here to take a look at some of these unexamined assumptions. One of the unexamined assumptions that we've been paying particular attention to that has to do with this narrative that we put forth has to do with the triangle, what we call the victim, villain, hero triangle. How we see that as this lens so that whenever we tell a story, Another way of saying that is every time we create a mold, every time we are constructing our view about what it is that's going on, there's a tendency in the storytelling to create those three characters. And you don't even have to consciously create all three. Anytime you have one, the others automatically come in. They reinforce each other. You can't have a hero without there being a victim and a villain. You can't. You can't have a villain without a victim. And the only way out of it is to have the hero. You can't have a victim unless somebody's been a villain. And on and on. So it's like they reinforce each other. And I contend over and over again that we're never really going to have transformation until we get off the triangle. Why? Because the only thing that needs to be healed is a sense of separation. The only thing that ever needs to be healed is a sense of separation. And the triangle keeps us in separation. There is no oneness in the triangle. There is no love in the triangle. It is forever separation. So we have to ask ourselves, really, how committed are we to getting off of the triangle? Really serious. How committed we are to that. People want growth, they want change, but then they still want to demonize. They still want to demonize. Can you text her back? This is Barbara Buchanan. Can you let her know that we're on now? It's one of our people that does the show, and she's asking about it, so I stopped to take that. So we have to really ask ourselves, do we want to be off of it? Do we really want to be off? Do we really want to be off of it? We want growth, we want transformation, but we also want to hold on to our judgments. We want to hold on to our identities. We want to hold on to, and here's the clincher, that sense of superiority that we get. I know that offends a lot of us when we think about it, but when you peel it away, when you really peel it away as to why we have to point the fingers, why we have to have judgment, why it is that we don't want to include people, why it is that we can't get into the oneness, underneath it all, there will be this idea that somehow or another they don't deserve it. It would dilute things. They're the problem, blah, blah, blah. But if you peel underneath that, what you will find is I'm better than them. I'm better than them. And if they're included, there goes the neighborhood, so to speak. Somehow or another, if they're included, then my spot of higher morality, I'm not as high anymore if you're in there with me. If your God is just as good as my God, then what does that say about us being the special ones? If you're a woman and you're able to make as much money as I am and to be able to run the country, but what does that say about me as a man and the position that I'm supposed to be in? You know, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So this idea of the oneness, this idea of the growth, the healing, the transformation, it means we have to change. Sometimes we get into this thinking it's about the other people. How do we get the other people to stop being villains? How How do we get these other people to stop acting like victims so much? You know, how do we go convince the people who really should be the heroes to do what you're supposed to do and be the hero? Or whatever that is. But we're not looking inside at our own introspection. Does this make sense? Okay. So she's not able to get on?
No, and as far as I can tell, we're on the Zoom meeting that we're supposed to be on. But she says the host has a different meeting going on. So that I don't understand.
Okay.
So I'm looking at this. It doesn't even let me start a different Zoom meeting.
I'm not sure what it is that we tested during the week.
I mean, I'd have to stop this meeting and start again, which would stop the recording.
Is there any guarantee though that she, no. Can she call in?
That's worth a try.
Have her call in, and if she can call in, we can tell her what we're looking at or what we're about to look at.
Can I use your phone to text her then?
Yeah. You know, we're actually going to be online for a while now. Why don't you get the link up and I'll text her and she can be looking at it simultaneously. She doesn't have to like look at it through us. She can just pull it up herself. Can you go to YouTube?
YouTube?
Yeah.
The link you sent?
Yeah. Well, not this last one. No, you know what it is at YouTube? It's Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do Netflix, Julie's Green Room, and then we're going to go to a YouTube. Okay. So this is going to take it. We're about to go on both ends. We're going to go a children's route about creating the mold, how it is we tell the story. And then we're going to look at a clip from one of the world-renowned news anchors and see how it is that how this gets crafted, so to speak, and what it is that we need to do about it. So let me just text Barbara for a second. You know what? Shoot.
Let's get in passion and write a song and everything.
Okay, let me show you what.
Was it season 1, episode 2?
Yeah, I think it is episode 2. Hold on. Barbara. No, this is Rev D. We just stopped everything because it'll be easier to do it this way. I don't know what's up with this now. Okay, we just, here we are again with this. But I promise you by next week, if we've got to test this thing 4 times, it's going to be right. Now, but here's what we're going to do. We're about to look at something, and you can look at it simultaneously. Do you have Netflix? Do you have Netflix? Hello? Hello? Oh, do you have Netflix? Okay, go on Netflix, and there's a show called Julie's Green Room. Season 1, episode 2. Okay, good, you watched it, all right. Okay, we're gonna watch that, and I'll text you back afterwards, and then we're going to look at a YouTube clip. And the green room, it's about creating the stories and telling the narrative. Can you do that now? I said, I got to get back to this show. Can you look at that now? All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, then we're going to go to YouTube. And I'll send you the link. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, start it.
In between, cause many parts make up the art. He brings joy to all our hearts. Circus tricks and improv. Mash them up for the air, you move and dance.
Can I do the full screen?
We can sing, we can tell the story. Put it all together, we can do anything. He was here when I got here. He just took it upon himself to be on the stage. I must say that is wonderful addition to the green room.
Is that loud enough?
I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Can you turn it up?
Want me a hand, or should I say a wink?
Is that as loud as it goes?
Is it coming from the speakers?
No, it's coming from here.
Wait. You don't have to salute, you go. Come on. Oh gosh, we're going to be doing
It's not coming from the speakers.
Mash up the music today, so the kids are going to need some writing.
Why is it coming from the speakers? It's really weird. Yeah, I just turned the speakers all the way up.
I could hear the boy, but not her.
She was kind of whispering.
Is this the same problem we had before?
We didn't get
No,
any
it's
volume
different.
at all before.
It's really weird. It must be because it's Netflix.
That shouldn't make any difference because it's just connected to the computer.
Yeah.
Right, Jules coming up, Jules?
It's coming from
You
that.
better get some access.
Nothing's coming from that speaker.
And
Nothing's coming from either speaker.
No, it's just that. That's clear.
You know, one of our kids might like to write the way good old William Shakespeare did. You mean
Did you
kick
hear
old
that?
school with a quilt?
No, it's still coming from this. It's not coming from the speakers. That's what I'm
Can you
saying.
hear Jillian out? She's speaking a little louder.
I don't think they can hear it.
No?
No.
No.
It's definitely not coming from the speakers.
Audio is too low. There's no audio, it's too low. Okay.
Yeah, the volume can go more there. Nice now.
Well, we can always control it from here.
Yeah. So let's try.
But it still wasn't coming to do it. It just probably made that louder.
I don't know how to get that little thing off of there. Well, let's try it anyway.
That's all.
Oops.
A quill is kind of feminine. People used to dip in ink and then write it back in the old time days.
It's better.
That is extremely self-sacrificing of you, Hugo. Are you sure you can stand it? Oh, Miss Julie. Hello, baby. Spotlight, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, for the amazing, very hot. Good morning, Green Room. Very grandiose entrance, very. Oh, what was that word you just used, Miss Julie? You mean grandiose? Yes, grandiose. What a word. Grandiose. It's always fun to say. What does it mean? It means big, theatrical, magnificent. I need to file that for future use. Better put it in the word, man. Grandiose, big, theatrical, and magnificent. Okay, Hank. I can't talk, Spike. I've got some new music inside and just has to get out. Oh, okay. That is a lovely piece of music, Hank. Thank you. Toby. Looks like Toby likes it too. I think so. Riley, nice to see you. Riley, are you in there?
Hmm? Oh, sorry, Miss Julie. I had my head in a fog machine.
You mean in a fog?
Nope, fog machine. Fog machine? It's a how-to video on how to build your own. Look, it makes real fog and everything. Oh, someday I will build one.
Well, we certainly could use a fog machine, Riley, but today we're going to build something totally different. We are going to build Mashup the Musical.
Build a musical?
Mm-hmm. How do you build a musical? You start with coming up with an idea for a story.
You mean actors will just make stuff up as they go along?
No, they don't. Hey, what's your favorite movie? Oh, Jungle Book. I want to be like you. That was written by writers. Harry, what's your favorite musical?
Ooh, Wicked, of course.
That was written by writers too. And the songs, you know, the words to the songs are written by writers, and those words are lyrics. Words to songs are called lyrics. Right. And what's your favorite TV show? You said it's Doctor Who? Well, writers wrote that too. So every TV show, every movie, every book, every play, every song is written by a writer.
How do they do it?
Well, it sort of all starts with an idea and grows from there. See, writers are builders of worlds. It's a little bit like mad scientists who create characters out of thin air and breathe life into them through their stories.
Ah, so what tools does a writer use to build a musical, Miss Julie?
They use words as tools. I love words. Words, and words. Language is the most important tool for a writer. Nobody knew that better than one of the greatest writers in the world, William Shakespeare.
Who's William Shakespeare?
William Shakespeare wrote 37 plays. Plays like Romeo and Juliet, The Merchant of Venice, Midsummer Night's Dream, and Hamlet. And he also wrote over 154 sonnets, which are these amazingly beautiful love poems. Mr. Shakespeare was so wonderful with language, he created phrases that we're still using today. Phrases like, knock, knock, who's there? Which is a line from one of his plays. Oh, I use that in jokes all the time. And also things like, in a pickle, which means in a bit of trouble. Yes.
Oh, I get into pickles a lot. Thank you, Shakespeare. Miss Julie, is Mr. Shakespeare going to write our play too?
I'm afraid Mr. Shakespeare is in no condition to help us with our play. He lived about 400 years ago.
Oh.
Well, then who's going to write our play? We are.
Huh?
We're all going to help write our story together. Us? I can't write. I'm not even good at spelling. Very shortly, you're all going to be very good writers. But we've never written before. Well, why don't we start with a brainstorm? I know that song. Rain, go away. Of course. No. Hugo, it's not a rainstorm, darling. It's a brainstorm. It's when we all get together and come up with an idea. So, why don't we all brainstorm? Come on. Thinking of an idea. Shubba-wubba, shubba-wubba. Perhaps we have a bit of a writer's block. What's that? It's when you can't think what you're going to write. Oh no, not writer's block! It's all right, little fizz. I think Gus has a solution for that. Do you, Gus? You bet I do. We're going to go shake those ideas out, a little warm up. So everybody to the stage! All right, you guys ready for the warm-up? Oh, yeah! Hugo, shake your tail feathers. It's time for the Shakespeare Shakes. All's well that ends well, that is what they say. Game is afoot, every dog will have his day. We will keep on shaking till an idea takes. Shaking with the Shakespeare Shakes. Everything shake. Riley, shake. Shake it with the Shakespeare Shake. Sound and the feeling in the soup in space. It's as plain as the nose on your face. We will keep shaking. We don't need any praise. Just shake it with the Shakespeare Shake. So Spike. Shake. Shake it with the Shakespeare Shakes. Shake it with the Shakespeare Shakes. Thank you, Queens. Now I'm sure your ideas are going to burst forth. And there's only one way to find out. Brainstorm!
Oh, no use. We still don't have an idea for a story.
It looks like you guys could use some help. Hugo, wait. Go tell Miss Julie that we're ready for the special guest. Wait. Hey, everybody, would you please give a warm welcome to our inspirational guest, Mr. Chris Coulson. Oh my goodness, you're Chris Coulson! That's what it says in my driver's license. Chris, these are my beloved Greens. Would you introduce yourselves, please? Spike.
Yeah, I'm Harry, you're great. I'm Riley.
And I'm Hank. So nice to meet you guys. Chris, I am so grateful to you today for coming to help us with our writing. Oh, I'm thrilled to be back in the green room. Thanks for having me, Jules. You're very welcome. It's good to see you again, guys. Welcome back, Chris. Chris has had an amazing career. He's an actor and a writer.
I saw you on TV before, but I didn't know you were a writer.
Are you kidding? Well, Chris has written some of my favorite books. I adore the land of stories.
Why, thank you, Perry. Why don't we take a look for ourselves?
Ooh.
When Chris Colfer was young, he wanted to write stories for other kids to enjoy. He started writing his first book when he was in elementary school. His grandma encouraged him to keep writing, and that book became his best-selling series, The Land of Stories, about a brother and sister who magically travel through a book of stories and have many fun adventures. Chris is also a wonderful actor and singer, and he was on the hit television series TV. Aren't we lucky that Chris is here today to teach us about the fun of writing?
Say hola to my friend, and Joe's is telling his friend, it's not grandiose.
Grandiose, nice word.
Oh, thank you. I got it from my word bank.
Well, it was amazing.
It wasn't that good.
No, it kind of was. Now, tell me, what are you guys working on? Oh, well, Chris, actually, we're writing our own show.
Yeah, but we've never written before.
If anybody can teach our greenies to write, it is you. Well, I'll try my best. Oh, thank you. Now, my dears, I'm going to leave you in Chris's capable hands I'm off to speak to a peanut crew about the basement. And no, don't ask. Have fun.
Bye, Miss Julie.
Bye, Miss Julie.
Bye, Miss Julie.
Tell us, Grace, what do we need to do if we want to get inspired?
Well, it seems to me that you guys need some inspiration.
What's inspiration?
Wait. You know what inspiration is? That's Hugo. He thinks inspiration is sweat. Oh, no, that's perspiration. Inspiration is when something gives you the idea to create.
But, Grace, how does inspiration work?
Instead of me telling you guys, Julie wanted me to introduce you to some people who write their own plays.
I could just pull it up on my tablet.
Oh, great.
Check this out.
Ooh, we are so excited that you guys are here with us today because we are going to write some amazing stories. And then we're going to turn those stories into some plays.
My character's named Chester the Ghost, and he looks like a cloud holding a Coca-Cola bottle.
Holding a Coca-Cola. That's such a great name.
My Chester, his name is Irvin, and he's a raccoon
What is the setting of your story?
in jungle.
A jungle. These guys have come up with some incredible comic characters, and I would like you to act them out. Would that be okay? All right, my friends, let's see it.
We're in the jungle. It's a better place for an octopus to be than a lion.
Lines and leaves and animals.
And wow! Hey, it's the raccoon.
My name is Irvin.
Okay, hi. My name is Lily, and this is not a cloud holding a Coca-Cola bottle.
Also known as
This is a ghost.
Storytelling teaches kids that words are important and that listening is important.
My character's name is Sally, and it's a unicorn. That was exhausting. Hi, I'm Sally the unicorn. Okay. When I saw them perform my story, it was really cool because they saw how my thoughts came to life. When I grow up, I want to be a writer.
Give her an applause!
Whoa, they created their own show?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now we just need some inspiration so we can create our own show.
What's wrong?
I was just inspired. I think our story can be about what happened to me today.
What happened to you today?
Yeah, I ate a waffle.
Eating waffles doesn't seem very dramatic.
Oh, it is the way I do it. Watch. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, this waffle is so delicious. It makes me want to do the waffle there. Waffle there.
Pretty funny, Barry.
But it's probably not enough for a whole show, huh?
Still pretty good, though.
Wait a minute. Maybe our main character really loves waffles.
And he does the waffle dance.
Hey, that's pretty good. Now, who is this character that loves waffles, does waffle dances?
Well, maybe it's a baseball player.
Maybe.
Or a ballerina?
Possible. What do you think, Spike?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
How about a prince?
Prince who loves waffles?
Yeah, and maybe his name could be Hero.
Harold the Prince, who loves waffles.
Oh yeah, and he does the waffle dance. Yeah, that's great. I like that.
All right, guys, we have our main character, and it's all thanks to Perry's inspiration.
Wow! Who knew waffles could be so inspirational?
I guess it's true what they say. Breakfast really is the most important meal of the day.
Now, what is Prince Harold's story?
Still no story, Chris.
What else do we need to make a story, Chris?
You want to know something that every story needs?
Yeah.
Come in close. Conflict!
Yes, conflict. I knew it was conflict. Okay, what's conflict?
Conflict is a problem.
Oh, new word.
Conflict
It's what's keeping the main character from getting what he or she wants.
What kind of conflict?
It could be anything. Like pirates who want the hero's treasure. Or the problem could be a pair of skates that the main character puts on and won't stop skating. You could come up with any conflict you think would be challenging for the main character. You just have to use your imagination. Now, what problem should Harold the Prince have? How about you, Spike?
Me?
Didn't you just come up with a rhyme about me a couple minutes ago?
Yeah.
Come on, give it a try.
You should have someone else. I gotta go. Okay.
What?
Spike. Excuse me, guys. I better go see something. Hey, Spike. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Then what are you doing in here?
Well, Chris wants me to write, and I'm just not a writer.
What makes you say that?
Because I don't even know how to use a comma.
Big deal. You can learn that, Spike. What writers really need are ideas, and you are full of ideas.
Maybe.
So come on, let's go back in there, and let's go try to write a story.
I don't think I can do it, Gus. I mean, I've never met any writers that look like me, or that think like me, or like the things that I like.
Well, that's why it's so important for you to write.
It is?
Yeah, the theater needs all different kinds of writers, with all different voices.
Really?
Absolutely. That's why it's so important for you to let your voice be heard. No matter what you look like, or the color of your skin, we all have a story buried deep within. Go out and get a pencil, grab some paper too. It's time to start a story that's in you. In you. Don't wanna write your story, wanna build the word by word. You gotta tell your story, that'll let your voice be heard. Start out with just one sentence, then another, then another. Keep building up your story, and let your voice be heard.
If you're a dancer, if you have pretty hair,
Let your voice be heard. If your skin is lighter brown, or if you travel as a chair, let your voice be heard.
no matter what we look like, no matter if we're young or old.
We all have stories, and our stories must be told. Don't wanna write your story, wanna build the word by word. You gotta tell your story, that'll let your voice be heard. Start out with just one sentence, then another, then another. Keep building up your story, and let your voice be heard. So, what do you say?
Well, I say I need a pen.
Wait.
So, how is it going with the writing?
Well, we already have our main character, and now we're working on the conflict.
Right, a problem for our hero.
So, what do we know about our hero?
Well, his name is Harold,
And he's a prince.
and he loves swap, and his football dance.
What could his conflict be?
Maybe some of these props will inspire you.
Oh,
What is it?
what if there was an ogre?
What if the ogre took something from Prince Harold that he loved?
Like what? His waffles, or his waffle dance.
What if he took all the dances? Oh, and all the music.
And all the stories and plays in the kingdom.
In other words, you're saying that the ogre would steal all the arts. Now that sounds like a conflict.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. And it's up to Prince Harold to stop the ogre and get the arts back. How? Well,
she'll need the help of a strong princess.
Princess Apple!
Yeah. And she'll need a horse.
A faithful horse named Ryan.
And he'll learn amazing magic from a wizard.
His name will be Marvin.
And maybe he has a pet parrot?
Name you.
Yes. And there'll be duels and action and heroics.
And of course I have the enemy.
Bravo, Greenies. It sounds like we found our story.
We did?
We did. Spike, you know what this means?
What?
You're a writer.
I am?
Absolutely. I agree.
Hey, I am. I'm a writer. Don't want to write your story.
Go on and do this word by word.
Catchy little tune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's put the lights back up for a second. She said she's in. It's a different meeting number.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Can you hear me, Barbara?
Hi, Barbara.
So can you share the meeting number with Rafe if I give you Rafe's contact info?
Why don't I do it? You can do it on the text.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, and it's coming through the speakers too.
Yeah, everything's working.
Wow, how did that happen?
Grace of God.
About to say prayer is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sending you, I just sent you Rafe's info.
Okay, got it.
Okay, he might still be able, because he called a second ago.
Okay. That's just his phone number, right? Okay, I'll call him.
Okay.
I'll mute myself.
We won't be that much longer. So, what did you notice? What did you notice in that whole little exchange and how it built and this whole idea about like telling your story? What did you see going on in there?
Everybody's sharing their ideas
Mm-hmm.
and starting with something and adding more to it.
Yes. It was actually a beautiful show about like the power of our words and to make things come into play. But you notice this assumption that every story had to have a conflict. Okay? Now, true, every story has to evolve. Every story has to have some kind of growth or pivot. But does it have to be conflict? What if it's exploration? What if it's learning? It's like, what are all the other things that this Harold character might have been able to do?
A love story.
Could have been a love story. Maybe it could have been about how he taught all the other little kids how to make waffles. Maybe it could have been about serving his little sister or Mother's Day. I mean, it could have been like any number of things, or how could he do so much of this that he was able to earn enough money to get a bicycle? I mean, it's like all of these different things. But you notice the moment that the kids said that there had to be a conflict, what did they do? They got an ogre. They got a villain. It wasn't just a challenge. Are you with me? There wasn't just a challenge. The moment that they were instructed there had to be a conflict, they introduced a villain. Big villain. And then what happened once they introduced the villain?
They had to have some heroes.
Yeah.
He stole everything.
Yeah. He stole everything. It kept escalating.
Yeah.
So it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till the initial story was what? The initial stuff before the ogre was
Waffles and waffle dance.
waffles and a little waffle dance. Exactly. It was this happy little waffle dance. Yes? But by introducing this conflict that they made up, what was now the subject?
Fear.
Fear. And the story was now about
Overtaking the villain.
the ogre.
Winning back the arts.
Yeah, the ogre. Taking over everything, winning back the arts, which was then on the villain's agenda. What happened to the waffles?
They just disappeared.
Waffles have disappeared.
And first they were together, they were in unity. And then as soon as the ogre was introduced, little Spike took off and then there was a sense of separation.
Yeah, but little Spike was the one who came up with the ogre. Why did he take off? That was a subtle little thing that they had in there, but I thought they handled it
He
well.
didn't think he could write. He didn't think he was talented.
It wasn't good enough. It was taught, he wasn't good enough.
Yeah. It was this subtle way of introducing race into it.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
I
That's-
didn't see that.
That's what that was about.
I saw, all right, well, but my take was different. My take wasn't about race. My take was about him feeling not good enough.
But he wasn't talking about just him. Because I've been watching the show and they do it. It's like this subtle thing that they do all the time. He says, I don't see anybody that looks like me.
That's what he said.
I don't see other people who reflect me, who think the way that I think, and who have my story, and who have, I don't see any writers out there that I feel like represent me. It wasn't about him, because that was the kind of like beauty of how they did that, I thought, because he's the writer in the whole bunch. He wrote this rap like immediately. He's the wordsmith. He wrote this rap. He was the one like, oh, he'd already done that before he went into the nobody like us is a writer. So it was this subtle kind of thing in there where he personally had the confidence. He's the one who's always writing. But that race consciousness thing, human race consciousness that we get into, that my kind, this isn't for my kind. But he's the writer. He's the one that carries the book. He's the one that's always doing this stuff. He has an extreme amount of personal self-confidence. And it was this kind of juxtaposition against this idea of, my kind, like, doesn't do it. And then they break into that beautiful story about everybody's got a story and everybody's voice needs to be heard, and how important that is for the theater and everything else to have the variety of the voices, not just his voice, but that it's important, the diversity. It was a beautiful little thing like on the diversity, but when I saw this, I thought, you know what? Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Just bam. This idea, there has to be a conflict. And then I thought about that. Just the way we create stories all the time. Just saying what happened to you during the day. Talking about the news. Talking about whatever. Are you with me? That there's this way where we feel like the story's not good enough. It's like the story's not juicy enough. We've got to introduce a conflict. And what would that be like? It's that idea of getting off the triangle. What if we could just let stuff be without having to do it within the context of conflict? Okay. There's another little short piece I want to play before we go, which will be kind of like a homework piece. Okay. To think about, this is a piece that's Keith Olbermann. Okay. And I actually agree with everything that he says. Okay. But as you'll see, he does it completely on the triangle. Completely on the triangle. And I've been pondering since I watched this, what does this mean in me? Because I actually believe everything that he's saying. It's so obviously on the triangle. What would it mean to not be on the triangle with this? Okay. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be this specific thing, because there's this general stuff that's going on all the time in relationship to Trump, in relationship to the stuff that's going on. But like, how can we be present in this without being on this triangle? Okay. And then we can close out. So we're going to do. Yeah.
Do the last part. I noticed right after that, the little white kid that was, about people in chairs. I mean, he felt separated also because of, he wasn't able-bodied. I mean, he's like every white, rich, Protestant, able-bodied, heterosexual, all those sort of things. That was another one of the buzzwords,
Well, the way that they play him, he likes sports. So when they were doing the little thing about what's the story going to be about, all the little kids had their own selves in there as like the main character. So, one of them's like, this would be a ballerina. And he said, let's make it about baseball. And they have him, he's the pianist, he's a athlete with his chair. But yeah, all the kids are representing something. The little curly haired one is Latina, hola! She's always, and the stuff that she does, but yeah, they're all representing somebody. They do a very good job with that. Yes, so this is short. Is that an ad?
Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website. I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. I appeal to the intelligence agencies and the governments of what is left of the free world, to them as entities, entireties, as bureaucracies making official decisions.
Okay. So this was just a couple of days ago, right after the head of the FBI was fired.
2 scandals ago.
Yeah, there've been like a bunch of them since then. But yeah, this was right after the FBI was fired. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And to the individuals who make decisions of conscience, to GCHQ and MI6 in the UK, to the BND in
I'm sorry, can you start from the beginning, because I cut that. It's important to hear the whole thing. So he's doing this he's doing an appeal now to all the intelligence agencies around the world. That's what he's doing.
I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. I appeal to the intelligence agencies and the governments of what is left of the free world, to them as entities, entireties, as bureaucracies making official decisions, and to the individuals who make decisions of conscience, to GCHQ and MI6 in the UK, to the BND in Germany, the DGSE in France, the ASIS in Australia, and even to the GRU in Russia, where they must already be profoundly aware that they have not merely helped put an amoral cynic in power here, but an uncontrollable one, whose madness is genuine and whose usefulness, even to them, is at an end. To all of them and to the world's journalists, I make this plea. We, the citizens of the United States of America, are the victims of a coup. We need your leaks, your information, your intelligence, your recordings, your videos, your conscience. The civilian government and the military of the United States are no longer in the hands of the people, nor in the control of any responsible individuals on whom you can rely. The first step towards compromising our FBI occurred Tuesday with the unilateral firing of its director by the president, prompted by the attorney general, both of whom are, or were at least in theory possibly to be, under investigation by the FBI as led by that director they fired. Our CIA is run by one of that president's political appointees. The first national security advisor was fired and may have been a Russian stooge. The second national security advisor has reportedly been yelled at by the president because he had had the temerity to disagree with him. Our State Department is in the hands of useless amateurs. Our United Nations mission is bereft of power and uninformed. And the White House is run by a cabal of an amoral family syndicate that has spent its first 3 months slapping a dollar sign on anything that stood still long enough. A cabal with, at its head, a man with seemingly no interest in our laws, in our rights, in our Constitution, and with a brain that appears to not work properly. Through our own negligence, the resentments and stupidities of millions of us, and the boundless greed of our elite class, our democracy has all but slipped away from us. It hangs today by a thread, and those who could protect it and restore it and fight for it, even at this late date, the Republican politicians whose voices today could force Trump out of office tomorrow, they are almost silent, owned by special interests and silenced by a power that exceeds even whatever dedication to freedom they once had. All but a few of them crawl back into platitudes about the leader of the country firing the head of the FBI and precipitating a constitutional crisis in order to shut down the investigation of his possible high crimes and misdemeanors. Our majority party infinitely wrings its hands about timing and how troubled they are, and then they go back to calculating how they will most easily get reelected, with whose money, by whose instructions. We, the citizens of the United States of America, are victims of a coup. For months, we have heard that your organizations have damning evidence against Donald John Trump. Whatever evidence you may have, you cannot conceal it any longer. Whatever we in this country are to you now, wherever you are now, you know that this nation has been a savior to you at some point in the past, and that our stability and our freedom and a government controlling this country that is at least sane is your surest guarantee of a prosperous future. Indeed, perhaps your surest guarantee of any future at all. Now we need your help. Whatever there is on Trump, reveal it. Issue it officially if you can, leak it if you cannot. If your directors and your governments want you to wait, look to the last days here and ask yourselves, plumb your consciences, if there is any time left to wait. Give it to a reporter. Give it to an American friend, put it on the internet, leave it outside somebody's back door. There is no time left for protocols and estimations of long-term impacts and tradecraft. A dictator in training has betrayed our Constitution and nevertheless survived 2 nights in office. The dictatorship he may want, the dictatorship he may feel is the natural extension of his past life, the dictatorship he may believe he has earned, has gone in this week from crawling to taking its first few tentative steps. What you have, we need, and we need it now. And to the intelligence community of this country, your patriotic duty is clear. In many respects, in the months since the election, you have provided your greatest service in our history. A democracy that has lost its political way, staggers down the street like a drunk, and lurches towards the gutter, yet you have walked a virtually bipartisan straight line, and you have followed your rules, and you have followed the rules of the civilians. And yet, the evildoers still exist regardless. The greatest threat to the freedoms of this nation that this nation has ever faced, the Trump administration, the Trump junta, is playing by no rules. They just offed the FBI director and let him find out about it by reading a TV news crawl in the back of the room in which he was addressing his Los Angeles office. They have no rules. For now, the rest of us who only want our democracy back, we can have no rules either. We will take the risk of reestablishing the rules later on. What you in the FBI, in the CIA, in the Justice Department have on Trump, we also need now. Because by tomorrow, it may disappear, and your ability to do anything with it may disappear as well. Some of us here on the outside have tried the best we could to prevent this day, others less so. Right now, it doesn't matter who did much when. You in the FBI, CIA, the other intelligence agencies, the Justice Department, you must be the patriots now. You in the Five Eyes, in the PSIA in Japan, in the outfits around the world too secret to have their names known to us, you must become, for the moment, Americans. We need what you have, and we need it now, and we need it made public. It is more than just the fate of this sloppy but well-meaning country that is at risk. For all of our faults, for good or bad, we cannot be left as a fascist rogue state and an enemy of freedom and international comity. The fate of all freedoms may rest in your hands and your willingness to not merely hint, but show what you know. If we go under, you are next. The freedom you save will be your own. Resist. Peace.
Pretty strong stuff.
Pretty strong.
Pretty strong stuff. We've got the little kids and the show that shows how we kind of live our lives. The very beginning, this notion that there's got to be conflict. And then we have one of the most respected journalists in the world ringing the alarm sound, which personally I think needs to be rung.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that he's even used some of the words we've talked about here. When I said, there's been a coup, you know, there's been a coup. It's like something has happened here. You know, definitely something has happened here. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And I know ultimately we're not going to get anywhere if we stay on the triangle. That's what I know.
The appeal was triangle.
Huh?
His appeal was triangle.
Oh, it was complete. I mean, absolutely, totally complete. And that's why I pulled this, because he used the word, he used all the words. You know, we are the victims. We are the victims of this and this and that. I mean, he used all of them in that construct. He used the construct in his appeal.
All you could say is.
All of it, yeah, all of it, it was there. The substance of it all, like I said, I can't disagree with it. It's like I really can't disagree with it. This may seem like a hard note to end on, but I wanted to end on this note to just have all of us reflect a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to be just this, but how do we turn something like that to vision? You know, how do we say, because now it's time to start doing some heavier lifting in here. You know, how can we not skirt around stuff, whether it's our own life, whether it's like national stuff, say the hard stuff that needs to be said, but energetically not get sucked into the triangle as our only reality. You know, when I look at that, there's a bit of despair. I'm not inspired.
Right, definitely not.
By the end of that, you know, you know, I get left with a kind of a hopelessness, as opposed to more of a, there's one world, there's one community, you know, we're all in this together, you know, how can we, you know, rise up and preserve or whatnot. It's all like an energy. It's like, it's all an energy thing. Do you feel that? But the moment that we start telling the story strictly from the standpoint of conflict, as opposed to vision, this is where we get.
That's a good example.
Yeah, the juxtaposition of the two, and just to see how insidious it is with the children's show. Just, wow. doing a little waffle dance, a little waffle dance. Bam. You know, this isn't against any people or whatnot. It's consciousness that we're talking about here. And the extremes just seem so perfect. From little bitty kids doing a waffle up to, you know, the biggest level of national politics. There's a consciousness that's here. And we can do some shifting.
And keep examining our unexamined assumptions.
Yes.
The day that you mentioned that, the first time I ever heard that, yeah, that started me going. And I've been doing that ever since, but across the board. Not just politically, not just socially, but racially, but all of it. Unexamined assumptions. And the two key words that I'm aware of, that I'm on the alert for, is when I hear people say, everybody and always. No matter what the sentence is, if I hear those two words, everybody and always, right away I know that ain't true. Right? Because it isn't everybody and it isn't always. It's some people, some of the time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Across the board.
Yes.
So I want to be alert for things like that and the unexamined assumptions.
I got to go back to Lynn Twist's thing because it's just really bothering me. This phrase that she used that was so perfect about the difference between our answers and our questions. I got to go back and look at that. And I encourage everybody to take a look at that Lynn Twist, April 23rd, 2017. So did Barbara want to say something? She leaving?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for showing that video because, boy, did he victimize us and basically lay us out as helpless until the intelligence agencies of all around the world come and save us. And it's so apparent that we can't solve problems when we're on the triangle. We just can't solve them. And the drama just perpetuates, and we even get away from the original problem that we need to look at and address. So, wow, that was a wow.
Yeah. You know, and I do agree with him wholeheartedly that there has to be a rally. That we have to look beyond nationalism right now. There's something really big at stake. Really, really big. You know, although I don't agree that we can get anywhere with no rules. You become what you don't forgive. That part I don't agree with. That you just suspend everything.
But I think it's a rally of empowered people.
Oh, there's no question. This is specifically to the intelligence agencies. But it's how he laid it all out. This is about the construct. It isn't so much about the content as it is trying to show what it is that happens here now about the way we create the triangle from the most innocent, unnecessary ways to the big ways, and what other methods can we use to not do that. Okay? All right. Did Esperanza want to say anything before we close out? Did she type anything?
She didn't type anything.
Okay.
She figured out how to join the meeting.
All right. Okay. Well, then we got to make sure that is
We're gonna have to
clear. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Till next week. Thank you for those of you who've made donations onto the PayPal at Rev D at Deborah Johnson. Reverend Rev D at Deborah Johnson. What is it?
You got so many times.
Gmail. I think it's my Gmail. .gmail. Yeah. It's Rev D at DeborahJohnson.org. That's what it is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's right there. There's a basket. Yeah. So we sing out.
Sure.
And this weekend, I have a chance. I'm going to be at the Oakland Book Festival. It's an extraordinary opportunity. They've got a lot of really, 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 really good people there. Angela Davis is going to be doing one of the keynotes, and I'm on a panel about faith communities throughout history and how they have contributed to social justice work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I underestimated the size of this festival totally. Or I would have come back earlier to go to the thing the night before. But it's going to be really, really good. And the Agape Choir may roll through here on Sunday. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Join our choir.
And join our choir. So we'll spread the word on that. Okay? I give myself a permission to be all I can be. I give myself a permission to live passionate and free. I give myself a permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. Amen, amen, amen. Let us take this consciousness and
Multiply it.
And multiply it. Yes, indeed.